Good morning, everybody. It's great to see such a wonderful crowd here this morning of interested people, and I think that that's a sign of the interest in the broadband and internet facilities, and we in Cavan County Council are very much aware of that for many years. This is a great opportunity for Cavan. We have been long time complaining about the infrastructure in Cavan, and where I sit here, I hear about it regularly at our council meetings. So we're delighted that Cavan has been chosen as a pilot town. So I welcome everybody from ESB and Vodafone here this morning. I'll hand over straight away to Sean Atkinson, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the joint venture company that which is ESB Vodafone. And I'll hand over to you, Nash.
Well, Chairman Shane P. O'Reilly, listen, thank you very much for your very warm welcome here this morning. Councillors, deputies, senators, and ladies and gentlemen, and members of the Chamber. It's a pleasure to be here this morning on behalf of the ESB Vodafone joint venture to announce what is a fantastic new venture, and it's fantastic to see a room full of people with interest in it. Today we're here to announce the most ambitious commercial broadband project launched in Ireland to date. Over 100% fibre network. We will be delivering speeds of 1,000 megabits per second, which is in excess of 10 times the speed you can get anywhere commercially available today to Cavan. The project will revolutionise how consumers and businesses alike experience broadband. So today it's about ESB Vodafone, the Fibre to the Building project. We have a company set up and we're launching that next month. We'll have a new company name, a company logo, and my colleagues will be taking you through that later on. So just in terms of the agenda for today, there we go. I'm going to run through a bit of the project background. My colleagues here, Trevor and Stephen, will then take you through some of the technical issues and aspects with the project. We have been in Cavan over the last number of months, running 2 trials in 2 estates. So we've been up and down a number of times, and we'll run through the trial results and the success that we believe that's been. Talking about the company launch, so we're, in terms of the new branding, the formal company launch next month. We'll have a short Q&A session then at the end, and then there's a tour available afterwards to go out and see what we've done at the 2 estates. So just moving along. So what are we here today about? What are we here to talk today about? It's about a step change in Irish communications. ESB and Vodafone have come together to form this joint venture company. And what it's going to do is roll out to 50 towns outside of the major urban areas. So if you look today, the major urban areas are Dublin, Galway, Cork, reasonably well enough served with broadband, but there's a significant digital divide between there and the rest of the country. And this joint venture has identified 50 of the largest towns outside that area to start rolling out what will be broadband to 500,000 homes and businesses over the ESB network. So what's novel about this project is we're going to run the fibre on the ESB network, and it'll be 100% fibre network, as I say, delivering speeds of 1,000 megabits per second. Significant capital investment, 450 million, has already been approved for this project by the 2 shareholders. So we're in the process of getting ready to go with the money in place. But really, for us, this is kind of the first one of these we've done, come to a town to talk about what it is we're doing. But we believe it's transformational, that for a town like Cavan or any of the other regional towns that we're going to go to, the ability to have that type of broadband speed and capability, whether you be an individual or a business, has the ability to transform your life in a very positive way. So it would look like. And what we're asking today for is just people to get involved. We'll be coming to Cavan over the next number of months, end of the summer, and we want people to get involved with us. We believe that as communities embrace this type of broadband speeds, capability, and we've seen it in other jurisdictions internationally, it can be transformational for a town in terms of what can happen in terms of digital hubs and new businesses and start-up companies. I'm going to finish now. I say we're in interest of time. I'm going to show you a short animation which sort of explains a lot of the background to the project It's something we've done at the back end of last year, and then my colleague Trevor will take on over that, so hopefully this works.
ESB and Vodafone are preparing for the future of the internet by rolling out Ireland's first 100% fibre broadband network. This revolutionary internet service will provide homes and businesses with the fastest, most reliable and direct fibre connection available. Current networks use a combination of fibre and then copper wiring to connect to your premises, which is a compromise as it slows the connection and performance dramatically. By using ESB's overhead and underground infrastructure, we will connect a fibre cable directly into your home or business. In simple terms, this means that the new fibre broadband will actually offer the fastest download and upload speeds compared to any other provider now and into the future. Business, healthcare, education, agriculture and the energy industries will all be transformed by the fastest internet connection speeds available. A new world of possibilities will open up for homes, ranging from instant video downloads and uploads, online gaming, to next-generation services in healthcare, home security and e-learning. But it won't just be the internet that will be revolutionised. The Irish economy will benefit greatly from this significant investment too, facilitating national growth of 1 to 2%, helping to support EU broadband targets, as well as ensuring Ireland is an attractive location for future investment. Starting this year, Ireland's fastest wholesale broadband service will be rolled out across the country by ESB and Vodafone, supporting the development of new services, increased competition in the broadband market, and providing Irish customers with greater availability and choice.
Trevor Lucy's my name. I'm the technical director of the joint venture company. I think one of the things we've actually experienced here with this high-speed fibre broadband is some of the equipment actually isn't up to speed with the catering for the latest speeds, but you know that was a bit out of sync, so apologies on that. Okay, that short animation is actually up on the YouTube, actually on the ESB YouTube channel if you're interested in to see that video. And I think it's a very good, short animation to demonstrate the essence of what this initiative is about in terms of using ESB's electrical infrastructure to bring high-speed telecoms network down to homes and businesses across the country. Now, this isn't anything new for ESB. Like, ESB has been using its national transmission electrical network to roll out a telecoms network over the last 20 years across Ireland. However, the difference here is that we're using the local distribution electrical network. This is the network that essentially extends down to people's homes, down to your offices, and it's using that infrastructure to roll out a fibre optic telecoms network and bring that fibre optic telecoms down to people's homes and down to people's businesses. It's 100% fibre optic telecoms cable all the way along ESB's electrical infrastructure, and that gives you this fibre to the building, fibre to the home technology. So, there's a tour after this session. Picture says 1,000 words, but for me, it's only when you kind of get out there and see a lot of this stuff, it really kind of brings it to life. So you're more than welcome to come on the tour later on and see this stuff, and I can explain it in more detail or answer any questions that you have. Okay? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephen O'Connor. I'm the Director of Corporate Affairs for the ESB Vodafone joint venture. Firstly, I'd just like to welcome Minister Heather Humphreys to the Chamber. Trevor delivered the technical trial, Trevor and his team. I'm on the other side of that. What I'm interested in is what people are actually using this technology for. You can build the best infrastructure in the world, but what I'm interested in is, has it influenced people's behaviour? What applications are people using? Are they using it for personal use, for business use? So that's why we were very interested in actually meeting the 300 homes that took up the trial. There's just two pictures of the two estates. But just to set in context what these 300 homes in Cavan are actually getting. Irish people love the internet. That's very, very clear. We've got 2.2 million homes in Ireland, and we've got 1.25 million homes that actually have a fixed internet connection. Now, the only problem is about a third of those homes, 35% in the last quarter, actually have an internet connection of less than 10 megabits per second. That might sound great. Given where we've come from over the last 20 years, we've gone from direct dial-up to very, very low internet. So 10 megabits maybe sounds like quite a lot. But if you look at, say, the recent designation, the US regulator, the Federal Communication Commission, has actually redesignated the definition of broadband to 25 megabits per second. So in the US, if you're not getting 25 megabits per second speed, you're actually not getting broadband. So what is available in Ireland at the moment? If you get your internet over a copper connection, there might be some fibre to a certain extent, but the last drop into your house is copper. You might be getting 70 megabits to 100 megabits, that kind of speed, if you're close to the cabinet or close to the exchange. If you're getting a cable connection in the cities, in the Dublins, in the Corks, in the Waterfords, and again, if you're close to where the fibre ends and the cable begins, you might get up to 240 megabits. So just to put that in context, what we're talking about here is 1,000 megabits per second, or 1 gigabit. So 300 homes in Cavan have a connection now that is over 4 times the maximum speed that they're getting in Dublin, and over 10 times the maximum speed people are getting over legacy copper wires. And the only other point I'd make is upload and download. It might sound technical, but what this actually means is if you're downloading something from the internet, like a film or web pages, that's one side of the motorway. If you're trying to upload video or photos, or if you're a business and you're trying to send large files, that's your upload speed. And traditionally, internet providers have tuned the connection to maximize the download and to minimize the upload. And that's not much good. If you're trying to send a video onto the internet, or if you're a business and you're trying to send a file, you need your upload speed as well. And the fibre connection that the 300 Cavan homes have is 1,000 megabits per second up and down. What can that mean? Well, just as an example, if you wanted to download a film, it would take you about 3 seconds. If you wanted to download 200 photos or 100 songs, that would take about 3 seconds. Or if you wanted to download a HD film, that might take you a minute using these kind of speeds. So we did interviews. We were interested in people's behaviour. We got the feedback from them. We asked them some questions. One question that I thought was interesting. Do you believe the broadband service compares well with existing services in Cavan? Thankfully, and not too surprisingly, about 80% said it was either superior to existing services or slightly superior. There's no point in bringing 1,000 megabits into somebody's hallway if they then are using a 10-year-old laptop. Because even if there's 1,000 megabits coming into the house, they might only be getting 10 on their laptop. So there is a big education for all of us to explain the limitations of older devices. Just in terms of business, we asked people, did they think that connections like this would lead to more people working from home? 70% of people felt there would be more home working. That's great. Interestingly, 56% of people we surveyed said that this connection would encourage them to start their own online business. And over 50% said connections like this would make Cavan more attractive for investment from the IDA. These are these are compelling statistics. And you do have to think, people say the digital economy is growing about 7 times faster than the traditional economy. So if people think that they can use these kind of connections to start an SME, to start a digital business from home, or to attract FDI into Cavan, that's got to be a good thing. These are some comments and case studies just from what people said. Brings the country into a modern era was one quote I quite liked. The future is coming to Cavan, I liked. Upload speed, people were focusing in on the upload as well as the download. There was a couple of case studies that we liked as well that came back from our survey. One was the local photography club, the Breffni Club, meets every second week, I think, at the Kilmore Hotel. I promised Declan I'd give him a small ad for the club. What they're using this connection for is to upload all of the videos and camera shots after each of their meetings. So there's an example of somebody really using that upload speed. MK Sound Consultants are an audiovisual sound and video hire company. And again, they're using the 1 gigabit speed so that they can tender for jobs, they can design client proposals. They're enjoying it. There was an IT student who lives in one of the houses, and he's studying computer science in Dublin. And one of the nice things is he has to do a lot of case studies. And instead of staying in Dublin at the weekend and doing his case studies where he needs fast speed, he's actually now coming home to Cavan because he's got better speed in Cavan to do his case studies than he does in Dublin. And he's the envy of his class, he told me. So the next step, we're going to formally launch the company on the 14th of May in Dublin, and we have a new brand. We're at that launch, we're going to announce the first couple of towns, but Cavan will be among them. and then we're going to have a small mini that day on Ireland's first 50 gigabit towns and how towns can benefit from this new connectivity. We're going to start building in the summer. We hope to start offering services in the autumn. And as Sean said earlier, our first phase is 50 towns. We hope there'll be further phases. And also we will be participating in the government's national broadband scheme, which I think will be published towards the end of the year. And that's targeting the last unserved 30% of Ireland, and we hope to be part of that. And I suppose just to leave you at a final point, just we're looking to you, to Cavan Chamber, Cavan SMEs, Cavan councillors, deputies, senators, to get involved in this, to become advocates, to encourage people to use it. We believe this can bring great things for Cavan, and we'd like you to be our partners. So I'll leave it there.
Just on that, I'd like to thank Sean Atkinson and Trevor Lucy and Stephen O'Connor, which is indeed a very insightful few words there as regards it.
Deputy O'Reilly and Deputy Smith and Senator Wilson, councillors, CEO of Cavan County Council, Chair Finn, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm delighted to be here today for this very positive story for Cavan Town, and I was very pleased last year when I learned that Cavan was going to be the first location for this national broadband rollout. And of course I was also pleased to see Monaghan on the list of the 50 towns that are set to receive high-speed broadband service in the next phase of the project. And of course, if you're considering a second town in Cavan, naturally I'd have to suggest Cooch Hill. I would like to commend Vodafone and the ESB on this highly ambitious project, which will deliver cutting-edge broadband speeds to locations right across the country. The speed of this fibre to the building is very exciting, and when you talk about downloading, you're talking about downloading a film in seconds, which is absolutely fantastic. So I presume there'll be no more buffering or waiting. It'll just be instant, which will be a tremendous benefit. I was taking a look at the results of the trial, and I'm pleased to see the residents of Rocklands and Athenskerry have had a very good experience with their trials to date, and I'm glad to see that Vodafone and the ESB are taking such a pragmatic approach to the trial. You're clearly determined to iron out any teething issues as early as possible before the plan goes nationwide. This service, when it is available, will be hugely important for Cavan, and as Stephen has said, it will help to attract investment, boost competitiveness, and it will make it easier for entrepreneurs to expand their businesses online. And by having access to such high broadband speeds, Cavan will be on a par for broadband with some of the world's leading cities, and it will future-proof regional towns in Ireland like Cavan for the types of digital services and technological demands of the future. The government is committed to delivering high-speed fibre broadband to rural communities as part of the National Broadband Plan. Indeed, ensuring access to high-speed broadband will be an important element of the jobs recovery as the economy continues to go from strength to strength. Connectivity and accessibility is more important than ever, and the government's focus for 2015 is ensuring the recovery spreads to every region of the country. And all regions are experiencing economic growth, and we want to see this growth accelerated. Direct state intervention will be a huge infrastructural programme, and some would say that it's akin to rural electrification in the last century. And the Minister White has said that the next stage of the intervention strategy will be completed, as I said, by summer 2015, and his department plans to issue a public tender for the state intervention by the end of 2015. This trial here is a very positive step in that direction, and it's very positive that it's coming here to Cavan, and as you said, it's significant that it's not going to maybe a bigger city like you mentioned, Galway, but it's actually coming here to Cavan, and I think that's very important, and that's a very positive story here today. And I want to wish Vodafone and ESB the very best with the project as it is rolled out across the country. Gura Maithigh.
Out to Aucknaskerry and out to the pop Cavan. And we just go through it. We select PPE. I'll go through that in a second. But there's a basic level, a high-vis jacket and a helmet. They'll be provided at the back.
This is who owns MK Sound. She's also the resident here as well. So if you want to come on through, Declan, you want to come in as well. Declan's another trialist here, guys, as well, if you haven't met him before. So literally what we're going to do here now is, I know, what we're going to just do now is we're going to show you a speed test. So we're just going to walk you through that, and we can obviously do it a couple of times just so you can see that we keep consistently hitting those numbers. And if anybody wants to shoot a video or anything like that, there's no problem there. So I'll let you.
Sure thing. So this one we just ran there a couple of seconds ago. Okay. And we'll just run that again. Okay. So testing out the server in Dublin, should be getting around 8 milliseconds of ping. And should jump up to about between 900 and 940, depending on the server. So it should be 900 on the download. Now it's going to run an upload test.
What are you going to typically get on Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi, if you have a good AC adapter, and it's a top class one, 350 megs.
Right.
That's the max you'll pull out.
And what about like up in the bedroom with the laptop or whatever?
On this one, it has an actual AC adapter on it as well, and in around the house, it will drop a little bit, but we ran tests in in Arcane, and I was getting like 250 megs in the back room, the furthest point away from the actual model. So
This is a medium voltage to low voltage transformer. You know, there's a lot of underground cables that actually come up and feed into this, a lot of underground electrical cables that feed up into this unit, and then they spread out and they literally go down closer to the house, and there's a many pillar unit over there that you would have seen in one of the slides. So these power cables run in ducting infrastructure, and it's essentially running the fibre optic cable then in these underground power ducts and bringing the fibre optic cable up to these units, essentially making the fibre optic cable, making it all the way down to the mini pillar here. And you might recognise these from the housing estates, mini pillar, the vault in front of it, and you've got the fibre optic enclosure then that branches out and feeds into the house. Actually, Kieran is going to point it out to you here, and Brendan. This is Kieran Walsh and Brendan Walsh here who've been involved in the project. So do you want to kind of come in here? I don't know who's in here. Declan.
Mainly Ronan here.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so you've seen the hub at the green with cables coming directly from there in the same ducts as our fibre cable coming in the same ducts as our power cable. So we've one coming in here. It loops in through this joint and then on out to the next mini pillar and then on again. And we've one cable from fibres are broken out from that and into our distribution point. And from the distribution point in these smaller cables in through the subduct, which is in our ducting that goes into the meter cabinet.
But the magic all kind of starts here. This is the POP site, so this is the kind of local telecoms exchange. This is where the active telecoms equipment is housed, and that's where the fibre optic cables are ultimately connected into. One of the things you have to go for is, because it's going to be exposed out there for the next 20, 30 years, like you actually have to go for black, because it's the most sort of rugged compared to, you know, the ultraviolet sort of implications like that. So we're going to have a stripe, and we're going to have you know, writing on it to distinguish it. So that's distinguished, like, for the network technicians who are going to be up there operating, that they know that this is a fibre optic cable and this is the electrical conductor. Like, what we don't want is people coming out and cutting fibre optic cable thinking it's electrical cable and stuff like that. So there will be a distinguishing factor from the ground. Whether you can tell, typically it'll be understrung, Adrian, you know what I mean? So it'll be the lower of the cables will be the fibre optic cable.
But there's no, other than you telling us, there's nothing on that, not that little white box or anything to indicate that no. Okay.
On that cable there at the minute, there's the yellow sticker.
Okay, we've put a little, for the trial purposes, you might see just at the end, there's a little yellow kind of sticker that we've kind of put at the end.
I do
so
see it,
that's just something that we did
okay. That's
for the trial purposes, just to see.